Excuse me? I'm sorry to bother you, but the host said you were waiting on a date, and I was wondering if... Huh? Oh, yeah, I think so. This is your online profile, right? Oh, thank goodness. That would have been really embarrassing if I was wrong, you know? Nice to meet you. Is it alright if I sit? So, I noticed that you've just kind of been looking down at your very empty plate this whole time. Is there any reason for that? I mean, it's not like you're famous or anything, right? I noticed that you also didn't have any photos of yourself on your profile, just pet photos. Is there any reason for that? Reputation? Oh, come on. I don't buy anything like you having a bad reputation or anything. I mean, if you had such a bad reputation, I don't think Drew from the news station would have set us up. She did mention you were a little shy, though. Oh, oh, wow. I see what you mean now. Yeah, I guess you could say your face is pretty recognizable. You're on the news a lot, aren't you? I'm pretty sure I've seen you around before. Is that how you know Drew? Relax, I'm kidding. Though, I can't say it would surprise me if you two met because of your reputation. Yeah. Yeah, I recognized your face when you looked up at me. But also, can I just say that you look amazing tonight? I get why you're hiding that face of yours, but I really wish you wouldn't. Sorry, I don't mean to embarrass you or anything. Oh, Drew? We're friends from college. Well, I was studying bioengineering, but I found out pretty quickly that I wasn't really into all the studying I had to do. Can't say I'm still not interested in it though. I just study it on my own time. I don't have to worry about a syllabus or following a curriculum when I study it on my own. Oh yeah, it's fascinating. If you ever want to learn more about it, I'd be glad to let you see my lab. I mean, it isn't like a lab, just a makeshift lab. More like a workshop, really. Honestly, it's nothing out of the ordinary, you know? I mean, if all goes well, I'd be more than happy to give you a tour of it. But if you want to see a real lab, I'm sure that could be arranged. Kidnap you? Oh, no, I would never. What kind of person do you take me for? Don't tell me you think I look like some sort of villain. Do I look like some sort of villain? Oh, that that's good. I was really worried that that was where you were going with that idea. You said that because of your history with that villain, right? What's his name again? Dr. something or other? Yes, that's right. Dr. Biohazard. Do you ever feel nervous being around someone so dangerous? I mean, he kidnaps you very frequently, right? You're like Dr. Biohazard's very own damsel in distress, don't you think? Well, I don't mean an actual damsel in distress, but like the story trope? But you look a little uncomfortable talking about it. I'm sorry. I get why you'd be apprehensive talking about something like that, but I guess it isn't every day when you end up on a date with the villain's kidnapping victim of choice. You don't mind that you're always targeted? Why's that? I think someone so well put together as yourself would get tired of always having their daily activities be disrupted by a villain. You don't think Dr. Biohazard is so bad? Why is that? I mean, not many people would even want to be around a villain as frequently as you've been, but for you to say that you don't think he's that bad. No. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but I guess I just wouldn't expect someone who got that close to one of the city's most dangerous villains to say that he's not that bad. I'm making things awkward. I promise, I'm not insulting you. It's just that you aren't at all like what I expected you to be. But that is the purpose of a blind date now, isn't it? Oh, hobbies? Well, like I said, I really like studying bioengineering. Though, mostly you could say I'm into the body and chemicals and all that. What do you like to do? Oh, that sounds fun. It sounds like something I'd like to get into. If I had the time, that is. What about TV? Seen any good shows lately? Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. Is it any good? I haven't gotten around to watching it, but I've heard a lot of good things. Well, if you enjoy it, then I guess I'll have to check it out. So that we'll have something interesting to talk about. Something other than your relationship with that villain. Do I really seem fixated on that? I promise, I don't mean to be. It's just. The two of you aren't dating, are you? It's fine if you are, but you have to tell me now before things go any further, you know? Phew. You're right. He wouldn't have agreed to go on this date if you two were dating. Unless he was comfortable with you doing so, of course. Would you rather be having dinner with Dr. Biohazard? I see. Um, would you mind excusing me for a moment? Thank you. I'll be right back.
Hey, how's everything going, you little lovebird?
Drew? Why didn't you tell me they were my date for tonight?
I'm sorry, did you ask? It's called a blind date for a reason, genius.
I know what a blind date is. What I don't understand is why this is the person you chose to set me up with. Do you know how awkward that is? How am I supposed to enjoy a pleasant dinner knowing I'm on a date with Dr. Biohazard's chosen person of interest?
You do realize you're Dr. Biohazard, right? Come on, don't be like that. They're really nice. You're the only one making things awkward, you know.
Yeah, because I'm the only one who knows the other person here. Do you know how hard it is for me not to bring out the Biohazard voice in here?
Are you actually trying not to let that out? Honestly, you just need to do what's natural. None of this putting on airs junk. I mean, really. If you're confident enough to drop out of college and become a supervillain, you should be comfortable enough to go on one little date.
I don't think you understand just how weird this whole thing is. Do you know what they just said to me?
I don't have cameras all over the city, if that's what you're asking.
Enough with the sarcasm, Drew. I asked, and they said they would rather be eating dinner with Dr. Biohazard.
I mean, you are the doctor, though. It shouldn't really bother you that much. Well, I guess I get it. Hearing someone say they'd rather be on a date with your persona must sting a little bit. But
But what?
It does mean they're still interested in you, at least, even if they don't know you're the same person. Who knows? Maybe you can make some sort of grand reveal after dinner.
Do I really have to finish this meal? I mean, I was so late, which already makes me look bad, and you know I'm not the greatest with small talk.
Well, you can't just stay in the bathroom on the phone until they leave the restaurant, you know. You have to come out of there at some point. I know you're a villain, but you aren't a monster. I know you're not going to skip out on the check or anything. That's something only a loser would do. Besides, if you do, I won't hesitate to expose your identity to the whole city on air tomorrow morning.
You wouldn't dare! Ugh. You act like I would have actually skipped out. When have you ever known me to skip out on a date or a bill?
Can't skip out on dates if you don't get any.
Look, I already said I wasn't going to skip out, alright? Even if they do seem like they aren't enjoying my company much. Hey, did you know they liked being around Dr. Biohazard when you set us up?
I mean, they talked about it before. A little bit anyway. Not necessarily so much about liking Dr. Biohazard, more about not being particularly disturbed by your presence, or too bothered by being your chosen damsel in distress. Speaking of, I never asked you. Why them?
Well, I guess there isn't really much of a story. It was kind of a wrong place, wrong time moment for them the first time. After that, I just sort of liked them enough to keep going. I mean, I know a villain doesn't necessarily need a specific damsel in distress, but I kind of like keeping some things traditional, you know? Actually, sometimes we just talk while we're waiting for the hero to show up on the scene. Talking like that is a lot easier than talking as my secret identity.
It's just a shame you can't just become Dr. Biohazard this very second and whisk them away from the restaurant, isn't it?
Actually, that's not a bad idea. And before you say anything, I'd leave money on the table, so I wouldn't be skipping out on the check. I may do a lot of freelance work now, but I remember our college days working in food service. I'm going to cause a commotion, but I'm not going to be screwing over some poor worker.
You think of everything, don't you? Well, have fun causing your dramatic little commotion in the city's finest dining establishment. We've been on the phone for a while now. It's really rude to be away from a date for this long, you know. You should head back.
Oh, jeez, you're right. I gotta get going. Bye, Drew. I'll tell you how everything goes.
Bye, Doctor.
Time to make my grand entrance. You all know the drill by now, don't you? Stay calm and still, and I won't harm you. I won't be here long, and I promise you'll all be able to get back to your meals when I'm gone. My. Look who we have here. What are you doing in a place like this all alone, my dear? A date, you say? But I don't see anyone else at this table but you. Why, if I didn't know any better, I think you were lying to me just to make me jealous. What a question! I would say jealous would be a bit too far, but I would most certainly be annoyed if I learned you had other obligations, aside from being my obligation. Speaking of, I'd say it's about time for my next scheme, and I'd love if you would keep me company while I work. My, what a question. A choice? Of course you don't have a choice. Oh, and don't worry about your date. I'm sure everything will work itself out. Just as it was all meant to be. I hope you weren't meeting with the love of your life back there, because villainy has no time to wait, my dear. No need for you to worry about your date, though. I'm sure we'll all be taken care of. Stop? But we haven't even made it back to my lab yet. As you wish. What are you talking about? I haven't been acting any weirder than a villain like myself normally would. All night? I only just ran into you. And it was merely a coincidence, I assure you. Just like it has been for so long. Never, you say? What on earth are you going on about, my dear? That you meant to become my chosen damsel in distress? But surely that first time was all me, right? You can't realistically say that... Oh my. You mean when you threw yourself at me as a sacrifice back then? My. It seems you may just be almost as cunning as I am. Tonight? You knew it was me tonight? You always have been quick to catch on. Even quicker than the heroes. When exactly was it that you caught on? That long ago? So everything after that point was just you messing with me then? How cruel. In that case, you know that if you really wanted to have dinner with me, all you had to do was ask, don't you? So, how about it? Would you like to start the night over? Or would you like to come back to my place and have dinner there? Perfect. Then it's a date. Well, the continuation of a date, at least. And I couldn't think of anyone else I'd rather have such a date with.